Thank you for choosing wisdom of the Dharma. If you found this video insightful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, so you never miss a new update. Your support helps us keep sharing powerful, life-changing wisdom with the world. And don't forget to drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's grow and learn together. The hidden trap on your own hand. Have you ever worked hard, kept your heart kind, and still felt as if life was holding something back from you? You show up on time, you give your best, you support the people you love, yet the money seems to slip away, your health never quite settles, and the peace you long for keeps drifting further from reach. What if the answer is not in the world outside you, but right there on your own hand? For thousands of years, Buddhist masters and Feng Shui sages have taught that the body is not only flesh and bone. It is a map of energy channels. Every gesture, every habit, even the smallest ornament we place upon ourselves, carries influence. And few objects are more underestimated than the rings we wear. Most people choose a ring for fashion, for romance, or for memory. We slip it on absent-mindedly, thinking it is only decoration. But ancient wisdom says otherwise. The wrong ring on the wrong finger can silently block prosperity, disrupt your health, and disturb the calm of your spirit. Like placing a heavy stone in the middle of a river, it doesn't stop the current of life completely, but it slows it, diverts it, and makes the journey harder than it needs to be. Think about it. Our hands touch everything. They sign the contracts, cook the meals, cradle our children, create our work. They are our constant bridge to the outer world. If the energy of the hand is blocked, so too is the energy of life itself. And sometimes, the smallest piece of jewelry becomes the hidden lock on that gate. In this video, we are going to uncover a truth that very few people dare to speak about. The one finger you should never wear a ring on if you want to keep your wealth flowing, your health steady, and your inner peace unshaken. More importantly, you'll learn how to transform the rings you already own into tools of mindfulness, anchors that remind you of who you truly are and what you are creating with each choice. Stay with me until the end, because the final lesson may completely change the way you look at your own hands, your jewelry, and even the life path you are walking today. Why placement matters more than price. We live in a world obsessed with price tags. When someone flashes a diamond, our first instinct is to ask how much it cost, not where it rests or why it was chosen. But ancient wisdom insists, the value of a ring lies not in its sparkle but in its placement. A humble copper band on the right finger can serve you better than the most dazzling jewel worn carelessly. In Buddhist thought, the human body is more than matter. It is a network of channels where mind, breath, and karma intersect. The hands in particular are seen as bridges between intention and action. Every time we reach out, sign our name, or lift food to our mouths, we are converting thought into reality. If the fingers are channels, then rings are like gates placed along the river. When the gate is aligned, energy flows easily. When it is blocked, the current grows restless and weak. Feng Shui deepens this teaching by mapping each finger to a sphere of life, willpower, ambition, balance, love, and communication. Wearing a ring thoughtlessly on one finger is like misplacing a mirror in your home. It may reflect back confusion instead of harmony. Placement matters because it shifts the way energy circulates within your body and between you and the world. And interestingly, modern science echoes this view. Neuroscience calls it embodied cognition, the way our physical sensations directly shape thought and emotion. A ring pressing lightly against your skin is not ignored by the brain, it becomes a constant cue. Over time, that cue links with habits and beliefs. If chosen well, it reminds you of strength and clarity. If chosen poorly, it reinforces anxiety and misalignment. So the real question is not how expensive is my ring, but where have I placed it, and what does that placement reinforce within me? Just as a key only opens the right door when inserted correctly, a ring only opens its blessing when worn with wisdom. Price attracts envy, placement attracts alignment. And alignment, in the language of both Buddhist practice and Feng Shui, is the root of true wealth, health, and peace. The forbidden finger. Every finger tells a story. In Buddhist iconography, the hands of statues are never random. A raised index finger signals teaching, an open palm offers protection, a gently folded hand expresses meditation. Each gesture channels energy. When we wear rings, we participate in the same symbolism, whether we realize it or not. In Feng Shui, the thumb resonates with willpower, the index with ambition, the middle with balance, the ring finger with love and creativity, and the little finger with communication. Among these, the greatest caution falls upon the ring finger of the right hand. Why? Because this finger already carries immense symbolic weight, passion, desire, attachment. When we overload it with metals or stones chosen carelessly, the fire of desire burns too hot. Wealth slips through our hands as quickly as it arrives, and health weakens under constant agitation. The thumb also carries risk. As the seat of ego and control, a heavy ring here can exaggerate pride or stubbornness. Instead of confidence, it breeds arrogance. Instead of security, it fosters rigidity. The result is a blockage of energy that isolates you from others and quietly erodes prosperity. Contrast this with the middle finger of the left hand, traditionally associated with balance and responsibility. Ancient teachers often recommended a plain band here to steady one's energy, because this placement grounds rather than scatters. It reminds the wearer to act with clarity, not impulse. It is not superstition but alignment. Imagine plugging a powerful device into the wrong outlet. The energy either overloads or shorts out. In the same way, a ring on the wrong finger scrambles the signal your body is trying to send. The result may appear as financial instability, unexplained fatigue, or restless relationships. So when you next reach for a ring, pause. Ask yourself, does this finger need more weight, or less? Am I reinforcing balance, or feeding imbalance? Sometimes the most protective choice is not what you add, but what you choose not to wear at all. A ring as a mirror of the mind. When most people slip on a ring, they do it without thought. Maybe it matches their outfit, maybe it carries a memory, maybe it simply feels natural. But in the language of Buddhist wisdom, nothing we wear is ever neutral. Everything on our body becomes part of the story we tell ourselves, and that story shapes the reality we live. Think of a ring not as an ornament, but as a mirror. It reflects your inner state back to you each time your eyes catch its shine or your hand brushes against it. The metal has no magic of its own, yet it quietly magnifies the energy you carry. If you wear it in haste or vanity, it mirrors that haste and vanity. If you place it with mindfulness, it becomes a vow, a reminder of balance, gratitude, or courage. Buddhist practice often emphasizes the mudra, or symbolic hand gestures, of the Buddha and Bodhisattvas. These gestures are not empty ritual, they embody mental states. A raised palm in the Abhaya Mudra radiates fearlessness, while the touching of earth in the Puma Sparsha Mudra anchors enlightenment itself. Rings function in a similar way. They are not the source of energy, but the anchor of intention. I once met a woman who carried a simple silver band on her left middle finger. When I asked why, she smiled and said, "It reminds me to breathe." Every time she felt tension rising at work, she touched the cool surface of the band and took a single deep breath. Over months, this tiny act reshaped her day. Her colleagues noticed her calm presence, her decisions became steadier. The ring did not change her fate, her awareness did. Yet without the ring, she admitted, she would have forgotten her promise to herself. Psychologists today describe something similar: the power of a cue. A cue is any physical signal that triggers a mental habit. A ring, if chosen with intention, becomes a daily cue for mindfulness. And mindfulness, as the Buddha taught, is the seed of all transformation. So the next time you slip a ring onto your hand, pause for a heartbeat. Ask, what truth is this ring reminding me of today? In that question lies the difference between decoration and devotion, between superstition and practice. Materials and energy. So far, we've explored how the placement of a ring can open or block the flow of energy. But position is only half the story. The material of the ring, its metal, its stone, even its shape, carries its own vibration. In Buddhist and Feng Shui traditions, every element of the earth has a frequency. Modern science too shows us that color, texture, and weight affect our mood and behavior. A ring is not only what you wear, it is what you invite into your body and mind. Gold, strength and magnification. Gold has been worn for centuries by kings, emperors, and monks. It radiates confidence and prosperity, but its deeper power lies in magnification. Whatever energy you carry, clarity or confusion, gold will amplify it. I've seen entrepreneurs wear thick gold rings, projecting charisma and trust. Yet for those without inner stability, the same gold inflames pride and recklessness. Gold is like fire, warm when contained, destructive when uncontrolled. Some choose white gold or mixed alloys to soften this intensity, balancing fire with clarity. Pearl, patience and grace. Pearls are born in silence, shaped slowly under pressure in the deep sea. They symbolize patience, tenderness, and resilience. In practice, pearls act like water, they soothe heated emotions and nurture calm communication. I knew a couple who gifted each other simple pearl rings during a rocky stage in their marriage. They later shared how the pearls became reminders to pause, breathe, and speak with gentleness. Over time, that softness preserved their bond more than any grand gesture could. Emerald, healing and insight. The deep green of emerald resonates with the heart center. In Buddhism, the heart is the seat of compassion. In Feng Shui, green represents renewal and growth. Emeralds sharpen focus without draining energy, making them allies for those carrying heavy responsibilities, doctors, teachers, or business leaders. Imagine a physician who wears an emerald band. Amid exhaustion, the stone's grounding presence steadies her, reminding her to choose compassion over frustration. Emeralds heal not only the body but also the mind burdened by responsibility. Ruby, the fire of action. Ruby burns with drive, passion, and daring. Entrepreneurs and visionaries are drawn to it for courage and momentum. But ruby is not gentle, it shouts rather than whispers. Without mindfulness, it can fuel impulsive risks and fiery tempers. I recall a young businessman who wore a ruby during his startup phase. It gave him boldness, but he nearly collapsed from burnout until meditation taught him to balance ruby's fire with inner calm. The stone is powerful, but it requires discipline to channel. Sapphire, wisdom and serenity. Sapphire, cool as the ocean, clears away fog and restores perspective. In Buddhist imagery, wisdom is compared to a clear lake that reflects the moon without distortion. Leaders facing high-stakes decisions often benefit from sapphire, which steadies anxiety and sharpens perception. A political advisor once told me his blue sapphire ring reminded him daily to choose integrity over fear when advising leaders. It was not superstition, it was a cue to anchor wisdom. Choosing with awareness. None of these materials are inherently lucky or unlucky. Their energy becomes meaningful only when paired with mindfulness. The most dazzling diamond, if worn in vanity, can cloud judgment, while a small pearl, chosen with sincerity, can transform a person's presence. The real question is not which stone will make me rich, but which energy do I need to cultivate in my life right now? When you see your ring as a partner rather than a charm, as a mirror rather than a trophy, every glance at it becomes a reminder. Your wealth, your health, and your peace begin from the inside, then radiate outward. Common mistakes with rings. If a ring can serve as a mirror of intention and a channel of energy, then it can also become a silent source of trouble when used carelessly. Many people feel drained, unlucky, or restless without realizing their jewelry is part of the reason. Let us uncover some of the most common mistakes. Wearing too many rings. Each finger acts as a pathway for energy. When we load our hands with rings on every finger, the signals clash. Instead of clarity, the body experiences noise. I once met a young artist who wore multiple gemstone rings because she thought each stone would add a blessing. Yet over time, she felt scattered, her projects half finished, her mind unable to settle. After reducing to just one meaningful ring, she said her focus and energy returned almost overnight. Less was more. Inherited rings without cleansing. We treasure rings passed down from parents or grandparents, but we forget that metals and stones absorb energy. If the previous owner carried unresolved grief or illness, traces of that vibration may remain. I recall a man who wore his late father's ring with pride, only to notice persistent sadness and fatigue that seemed out of place in his otherwise happy life. When he cleansed the ring using sound bowls and sunlight, he felt lighter, as if a cloud had lifted. The memory of his father remained, but without the heaviness of inherited sorrow. Sharp or aggressive designs. Rings shaped with jagged edges or overly harsh designs can subtly agitate the aura. Imagine tending a garden full of thorns. It changes the mood of the entire space. Smooth curves encourage flow, chaotic patterns invite conflict. Many energy masters suggest that if you feel irritated or restless after wearing a particular ring, the design may be amplifying tension rather than grounding you. Improper fit. A ring that is too tight doesn't only block circulation, it symbolizes stagnation in energy. A ring too loose, slipping in and out, cannot anchor intention. The ideal ring feels like a natural extension of your hand, secure yet unrestrictive. The danger is not the ring itself, but our unawareness. Rings should lighten, not burden. Protection sometimes means letting go, removing what no longer serves you. Before adding another jewel to your hand, pause and ask, does this piece help me feel grounded, or does it weigh me down? The answer will guide you better than fashion ever could. Transforming a ring into a mindful ritual. Most people treat rings as accessories, something slipped on without a second thought. Yet a ring can become far more, a living ritual, a daily practice that shapes your choices and steady your energy. The secret lies not in superstition, but in intention. Step 1. Set a clear intention. Vague wishes rarely bear fruit. Instead of saying, I want more money, write down, I welcome steady and sustainable wealth that supports my growth and service. Instead of, I want health, declare, I choose vibrant health in body, mind, and spirit. Writing crystallizes thought, giving your mind a direction as sharp as an arrow. Step 2. Choose with awareness. Select a ring not only for beauty, but for resonance. Do you need clarity? A calming stone may help. Do you seek courage? A fiery stone can serve as a reminder. The point is not the price of the material, but its harmony with your present journey. Step 3. Place it with mindfulness. When you slip the ring onto your finger, pause. Feel its weight, its coolness, its presence. Say an affirmation quietly, perhaps aloud, perhaps within. May this ring remind me of my path. May it anchor me in mindfulness. May it draw peace, prosperity, and purpose into my life. The sincerity matters more than the volume. Step 4. Use it as a cue throughout the day. Every time you notice your ring, let it call you back to presence. If stress rises, touch it gently and take one conscious breath. If anger flares, let its cool surface remind you to soften. If fear appears, recall the vow you set when you placed it on your finger. The ring becomes a compass, guiding you back each time you wander. Step 5. Close the day with gratitude. At night, when you remove the ring, pause again. Whisper thanks, not to the ring, but to yourself, for honoring your intention through another day. This closing act seals the cycle of mindfulness, turning habit into sacred rhythm. Over time, the practice reshapes not only your energy but your choices. Neuroscience calls this the power of cues. Buddhism calls it mindfulness. Either way, the effect is the same. A simple ring becomes a daily vow, an anchor to the life you truly want to live. Everyday stories. Abstract wisdom becomes alive when we see it in real lives. 2 stories will show you how an ordinary ring, used with intention, reshaped both fortune and spirit. The entrepreneur and the ruby. Daniel, a 32-year-old entrepreneur, lived on constant adrenaline. Every deal was urgent, every risk seemed worth taking. He wore a ruby ring on his right ring finger, believing it would give him courage. For a time, it worked. He moved fast, spoke boldly, and impressed investors. But soon the same energy turned against him. He grew restless, his health declined, and his decisions became impulsive. A mentor suggested a small shift, wear the ruby on his left middle finger, the channel of balance and responsibility. Daniel also set a quiet vow each morning, may this fire fuel wise action, not reckless pride. Within weeks, he noticed a change. The ruby still gave him confidence, but its energy now reminded him to pause before leaping. Deals became more thoughtful, his health steadied, and he learned that true courage is not blind risk, but mindful boldness. The mother and the pearl. Lydia, a single mother in her 40s, carried a heavy burden, work stress, bills, and raising 2 teenagers alone. She often found herself snapping in frustration, even when her children did nothing wrong. One day, she bought a simple pearl ring, not for fashion, but as a practice. She placed it on her left hand and whispered, "May I stay soft even in storms." At first it felt meaningless, but over time, the cool surface of the pearl became her reminder. When anger flared, she touched it and breathed once before speaking. Slowly, her words softened. Her children noticed the change, less shouting, more listening. Lydia realized the pearl had not solved her challenges, but it had anchored her patience. With that patience came deeper connection, and with connection, the strength to keep going. The lesson. Daniel's ruby taught him that passion must be guided by clarity. Lydia's pearl showed that gentleness is power, not weakness. Neither ring was magical, both were mirrors. They reflected back the intention each person carried. That is the real wealth, not the jewel itself, but the awareness it awakens.